unique stories that define our state's character. Here's Kevin Mackey with the best of Montana Moment, sponsored by Montana Chevy Dealers.
Off the Pioneer Mountains Scenic Byway between Wise River and Polaris is an abandoned mining settlement. This ghost town on the National Register of Historic Places is an important touchstone of Montana history. It was the unfulfilled dream of a former Montana lieutenant governor. Kevin Mackey has our best of Montana Moment.
High in the mountains, Coolidge stands testament to a way of life long gone. Nestled in the Beaverhead Deer Lodge National Forest, the town is slowly sinking back into the earth. The men who lived in Coolidge worked at the Elkhorn Mine and Mill.
Coolidge basically sprung from the ground in the matter of a year and a half. It went from being just a remote spot 25 miles south of Wise River, basically in the wilderness, to a community of 350 people here in Coolidge and an additional 100 people in the upper camp above the mine.
Coolidge was an underground hard rock mine, the last large-scale silver mine and mill in Montana.
So this was a tunnel into the hillside, and there are about 6 miles of underground working. So between here and the upper 300 level, every 100 feet, there was mining occurring.
The Elkhorn Mine was first discovered in 1873. By 1911, an Anaconda native and former Montana Lieutenant Governor William R. Allen saw its potential to become Montana's richest silver mine. Allen would kick his dream into high gear in the 1920s. Ore from his mine was transported on the Montana Southern Railroad, the last narrow-gauge railroad built in the United States. Sonny shows us where the ore tracks once ran.
So this is the path all the ore out of the mine would have taken.
Men would have loaded the ore from this ore bin
into ore cars that would have lined up here under these two chutes and then conveyed to the mill to the north of us.
When you come upon the ruins of that mill, you can't help but stop and stare.
So we're standing at the remains of the Boston and Montana Mining Company's Elkhorn Mill.
The mill stands tall, massive, reverent, like ruins you'd find in Greece or Rome.
It was completed in 1922, and at the time of its completion was the largest freestanding wooden structure in Montana, if not the Pacific Northwest.
But William Allen's mine never produced the quality silver he expected. Add to that a Montana power dam breach that destroyed the mine's railroad tracks. Mike calls Coolidge the boomtown that never boomed. Coolidge, even by today's standards, is fairly remote. Just imagine 100 years ago. Anybody moving here had to be prepared to live on the edge.
I think some of the allure of Coolidge and this mine is to step back in history and imagine just how hard it would have been for the settlers to mine and to live here, and to do that year-round. These miners were some of the toughest and hardest working people that we could even imagine.
Most of the miners were single men, but many brought their families. There was a school, a boarding house, but no saloon or church.
This is the home of Frank Tyrell. He was Coolidge's postmaster between 1922 and 1932.
The Tyrell House is the best preserved building in Coolidge. It was the last building occupied.
Other buildings have fallen into varying states of decay due to a combination of harsh winters and varying levels of skill in their construction.
Here's the old pump house, a tin can dump. This building is a photographer's favorite.
It's a double-walled construction, and if you look inside the walls, you'll notice that it's insulated with sawdust. And what this is actually a sauna.
Coolidge is an archaeologist's textbook, but years of mining took its toll. Mike and Sonny have worked in partnership.
Working together to find the balance between both the environmental concerns and public safety, as well as preserving the cultural resources at the site.
From 1998 to 2004, the Forest Service took a series of reclamation actions in the mill area.
Behind me is an area where tailings were removed 25 years ago, and you can see the amount of grass and vegetation that has since come back.
But toxic water seeping from the mine will be with us for a long time.
So this water is going into Elkhorn Creek, which is just below us here, and it does pollute Elkhorn Creek to a level that's harmful for fish and aquatic wildlife. This problem will be here for a really long time.
The Forest Service has done extensive reclamation, but it's finished its work and has no current plans to treat this water.
We are very remote. We don't have infrastructure, so that would require us to reestablish power to the site. So economically, it's just not viable. So what we have done is to route the water around the remaining waste rock dump and try and keep the metal contamination as low as possible. Behind us is the historic waste rock dump. And before the reclamation, you would have seen a pile of rocks with no cover on it.
It's an environmental and cultural legacy of Montana history in the boomtown that never boomed. Kevin Mackey, NBC Montana. If you want to watch this story again or any of our Montana moments, go to NBCMontana.com/Montana Moment. These unique stories about the Treasure State, its history, and its great people are now the Montana Moment podcast. Look for new episodes every week. If you have a story idea, let us know. Until next time, be safe, stay healthy, and keep making Montana Moments.